Good morning. Welcome to Sunday. Hi, Julie. Greetings to anyone I can see on Zoom who arrives. Greetings to the people I cannot see on Facebook and YouTube. Happy to be here. Today I thought we'd talk about the hindrances, things that stand in our way to growth in meditation, spiritual growth, from the point of view of self-compassion, because these are opportunities to kindly, gently look at parts of our experience that may be holding us back and how to meet them. Thought we would just start with this quiet meditation today. So I invite you to find your meditation posture. Gently close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths just to connect. And let's just sit quietly and meditate for about 25 minutes. Thank you for your practice. And welcome to Sunday morning. As usual, I put the usual information in the Zoom chat, and I've also posted it on Facebook and YouTube. How to get in touch with me, how to find these sittings every week, link to my website, a link to a donation if you feel so moved. Today I thought we would talk about the 5 hindrances. Buddha pointed to 5 tendencies that we have that can hold us back in our growth and awareness and our growth in spiritual practice and our personal growth. And those are desire or attachment, aversion, restlessness, sleepiness, what he referred to as sloth or torpor. We'll go with sleepiness, and doubt. And these are not opportunities to criticize ourselves for not doing it right. These are natural things that arise, and we can learn to look at them from a mindfulness point of view and say, maybe I won't participate in that today. Or realize, look at them as what they are, which are sort of phantoms that come and go. So the first one, desire, attachment. Generally, what I think that means is desire for things to be other than they are. Attachment to an outcome, attachment to an experience. We're meditating. And whatever our experience is, we think it should be something else. The mind is really busy that day. Sometimes my mind gets very settled. Sometimes it's like very busy. And we think, this isn't it. We want it to be different. Or we want something more. We want to feel more tranquil. Sometimes I don't always feel that tranquil when I'm sitting. Sometimes I feel very calm and centered. The need or the want for it to be different. And one of the most frequent questions I get from people who are learning how to meditate is wondering whether or not they're doing it right, because they think it should be different than what they're experiencing. And the truth is, you can't do it wrong. The doing it is the doing it. And we practice, like practicing the violin or practicing the piano. We practice honing the mind into a mindful space. And with mindfulness, you can watch the entire arc of desire kind of unfold and come and go as you're sitting. Because if you're sitting in meditation and something arises, I don't like this, some version of I don't like this, that'll come and go if we just watch it. We dispel the shadow by shining the light on it. We mindfully observe our experience of being attached to whatever it is we're attached to. The next one is aversion, resistance. It shows up as resistance, shows up as anger, shows up as some form of pushing away. I'm in a situation now where something is unfolding in a group that I'm involved in. And I'm feeling I have a lot of aversion to what's happening and a lot of desire for it to be different. And I've been meditating and I've been sitting with that and realizing that's not serving me. It's going to be as it is, whether I desire for it to be different or whether I'm averse to it or not. I can ping pong back and forth between attachment and aversion, or I can sort of let the pendulum swing in the middle. Notice that I'm having this experience. Investigate my internal experience, what's coming up for me. decide that I'm okay and it's okay. This is really normal in meditation. When you experience aversion or anger, mindfulness practice helps to learn how to sit with it and refrain from judging ourselves harshly. I think I need to say that again. We refrain from judging ourselves harshly. We just explore it. What does this feel like in my body? If I'm feeling angry, it's usually in my shoulders, right? It's where, if I look at it in my body, it's usually in my shoulders, and they want to like fold my body in half. It's kind of like a very defensive position. What kind of thoughts are being generated with that? People who've been coming to these talks regularly have heard me talk about Herbert. Herbert is the name I've given to the thought stream that I hear, because it is often very different from what my experience is in the moment. What is Herbert telling me about this? I have to remember, in those instances where I'm experiencing some sort of aversion and I'm looking at the thought stream that goes along with it, our thoughts are real, but they're not true. They're real in that we have them. They're not true in that they're not truths. Another person involved in this situation, my thought stream goes to what I think this person's motivation might be. Truth is, I have no idea. But that's about something that's being triggered in me, which is where I need to look. What is my experience that's surfacing, that's bubbling up from the surface, that feels like anger, feels like aversion, feels like I want this to be other than as it is? And with desire, aversion calls on us to recognize that we're having this experience, accept it, investigate. Not the why, but the what. What is happening to me? What am I experiencing right now? And to meet that with some loving kindness. The third hindrance is restlessness. How many of you have ever sat on your meditation pillow feeling like you don't want to? How many of you have looked at the clock during meditation and you think 20 minutes must have gone by? It turns out to be 3. Never. Restlessness, the feeling like I can't sit still. I don't want to do this. It's taking too long. When is the bell going to ring? I have an insight timer app on my phone. It's quiet. I don't have to look up and see what the time is. I just sit there until the bell rings. The feeling like I need to attend to something else. I shouldn't be sitting here. I should be doing something else. One of the best object lessons of this was when I was in grad school. I don't know if anybody here today has ever been in grad school. Grad school includes the experience of no matter what I'm doing, I feel like I should be doing something else. Working on that paper, reading that chapter, prepping for that class tomorrow. And the truth is, it all turned out fine, whether or not I went down the road with that or not. But there's a certain kind of restlessness that was built in. I was a newspaper reporter for more than 20 years. That's by definition a restlessness type of occupation. And I don't know if you've seen those stories in the paper that come out on Sundays and Mondays. There's miles and miles of copy and charts and graphs and all this stuff, and there's all this research that went into it. And I did those. They took me off the daily news beat, and I would spend a month working on something like that, and the last several days in the writing. And for a long period of time, I would lose my mind during those projects. I would be uptight and nervous and sleepless and always looking to the future. I'm thinking, oh my God, it's going to be a big picture of white cheese blowing in a snowstorm where my story is supposed to be in the newspaper. And then I had this like epiphany. The work always got done. The stories always came out. I won awards for some of them. And I realized if I lose my mind, or if I don't, the results are the same. It's just a question of how crazy I get in the interim. The hindrance of restlessness speaks to this. We're sitting in meditation. This is a very normal piece of meditation, and we feel like we should be doing something else. And if it's really that important, get up and do it, but the chances are it's not. We can observe that energy mindfully. The only thing I need to do in meditation, if I have to do it, and I hear that noise behind me, is let the cat out of the room so I don't have to clean it up later. I'm sitting and I'm meditating, and my body is like restless, and I'm having trouble sitting still, and it's taking a very long time, and it's uncomfortable. So part of being with restlessness is the art of being with what's uncomfortable and realizing it's not a crisis, it's just uncomfortable. So I can observe the energy of that because it's just energy. Nothing is actually happening, it's just energy. Mindfully notice where I feel that. Mindfully notice what kind of thoughts are being generated. Mindfully notice what I'm telling myself, which is sometimes some version of I'm not okay, which we'll get to in a minute. It's the art of knowing I'm okay, even when I don't feel like I'm okay. I'm still sitting here, I'm still in the present moment, nothing is happening. That is true of most of the things in our lives. Nothing is actually happening in the moment that we're worried about something happening. This feeling that I have to be somewhere else, do something else, that energy in my body is not settling. It's all okay, it's all good. What it calls for is some patience and self-compassion and recognizing that, oh, this is just the experience of the moment. The next one is what Buddha referred to as sloth and torpor. I love that. I don't know why I find that so amusing. Basically, it's like sleepiness or, heaviness. And it's easy, again, to think that something is wrong if we find ourselves in that space while we're meditating. I was on a retreat with John Travis, Vipassana teacher in California. It took us all on a trip to the pilgrimage sites in India. And not long after we came back, he did a day-long retreat. And I was so tired, and I was like falling asleep in the meditation hall. And I went to him, I said, John, I just keep falling asleep. Can't stay awake. He said, well, obviously you're tired. We can cut ourselves a break. Sometimes we just feel laggy because we just ate a big carb meal. Sometimes we're just low energy. When we think there's something wrong with us because of that, that's a problem. And I'm still going to sit here in meditation even though I'm feeling tired. Even if I fall asleep. It's only an obstacle if I decide that it's an obstacle. And it's only an obstacle if I let it stop me from doing whatever I need to do. And I used to be really self-conscious about falling asleep in meditation, falling asleep in the meditation hall. And then I was on a retreat with Bill Fonsdale. This is probably 15 years ago. 7-day retreat. We're all sitting there. And I look up, and there's Gil doing one of these. Now, Gil is a PhD in Buddhist studies from Stanford. He is an ordained Zen priest. He's been doing this for a very long time. He's one of the leading voices in the Vipassana world. I got let off the hook because everybody has this experience of falling asleep when they're meditating. I'll tell you what I don't want to have happen. Sitting there in the meditation hall, either on a retreat or just, 45 minutes. And behind me on the right, I hear, I don't want to be that guy. And I don't want to be the guy who falls asleep and leans over on the other person next to me. But it can happen. And I don't worry about it. The thing about sloth and torpor that I think the Buddha was referring to is when we let it de-energize our walk down the path. Because awakening is effort. The path involves effort. And I'm going to give a talk on effort at some point. And it's the effort of knowing we're okay. That includes knowing we're okay. And the mindfulness practice of the manual labor of meditation. We wander off, we come back. We wander off, we come back. Sometimes we get tired. That's just the way it is. It's okay. And the last hindrance is doubt. Doubt's a very powerful thing. Doubting that we're okay. I was a therapist for 25 years, and I think one of the common colds of therapy was people coming in doubting whether they're okay, thinking there's something wrong with them when they're not. They are okay. Just wounded. We're all wounded. The common question I keep talking about that I get from meditators, am I doing this right? The feeling I can't do this. Somewhere in the middle of all those big stories I did at the San Francisco Chronicle was some version of I can't do this. I should just quit. They're going to fire me. I'll never get this right. That's another strong form in which doubt appears. Self-doubt, that version of I'm not okay. And I've struggled with this. I've told this story before. I was on a meditation retreat at Cloud Mountain, which is a retreat center 90 miles north of Portland, Oregon. I'm out in the woods. It had just rained, so it was beautiful and lush and green. And I'm meditating, and I hear, "You're not doing this right. You're screwing this up." And it like startled me. Right? Like I'm literally sitting out of the woods in the middle of nowhere, and my mind goes to that, some version of self-doubt. It's a very powerful thing. When Buddha was sitting under the Bodhi tree in the moments before he awakened, and Mara was trying to stop the awakening and had run out of everything that he had to do that, he threw his most powerful barb at Buddha and said, "What makes you think you're someone who can awaken?" He threw self-doubt. And Buddha just opened his eyes and looked at Mara and said, "I see you. Let's have tea." So Buddha's, experienced all of these things, and in the end, he invited that part of himself to gentleness. So the hindrances arise, and they are opportunities for us to look at our shadow, look at our doubts, look at the things we find difficult in our experience, and say, "I see you, Ma. Let's have tea." To meet ourselves with kindness and gentleness and compassion. So, thank you for your kind attention. Questions, comments?
Thanks, Ken. I'm leaving on my trip to Spain and Greece tomorrow, so I'll be gone for 2 weeks.
Travel safe.
But thank you. Well, I wanted to ask about meditating while you're on vacation or while you're traveling. I find one of my hindrances is when you're outside of your routine, it's harder to.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's not one of the 5 hindrances, but
some version of that.
Once you do establish a routine, and then you break that, and you're you're doing something, you're in a different place, you're with different people, and you've got a whole packed schedule planned, and it's harder to meditate than when you're in your normal place, in your normal situation. So how do you handle that?
Um, I wake up a half an hour earlier than I normally would, and I sit on the edge of the bed and meditate with the insight timer.
Okay.
That's the simplest solution, and I do that. You can always meditate in your hotel room. I assume you're not like sleeping in the desert.
Or my sister's house, yeah.
If you can't meditate like your regular meditation practice, take a few moments to just pause and breathe. Just bring yourself to your body. The mind is going to be floating around everywhere. Jack Kornfield famously said, because you're going to be at your sister's house, so that brings to mind is Jack Kornfield famously said, if you think you're enlightened, go spend 2 weeks with your family. I can attest to the truth of that. I haven't spent 2 weeks with my family in years. We do what we can, when we can, where we can. Get up a little earlier, meditate. It's okay to say, if you're staying in someone's house, I need to go to my room for half an hour now. We just take care of ourselves as best we can. I don't travel with my meditation cushion, which I don't really, I have a cushion on this chair, blah, blah, blah. I just get up and sling my feet over the side of the bed and sit in a posture. And do you know about the insight timer?
I've heard about it.
Insight timer is an app. It looks like this. You can download it. I think it's either 99 cents or free. It's got various bells. Mine is set by Bluetooth to my hearing aid, which is why I hear it, and you don't, and I know when to end the meditation. You just set the insight timer, and it rings after whatever time. Easy peasy. Drop me a note on Facebook or email me, and I'll send you the link to it.
Okay.
Most of all, just be kind to yourself. You're doing the best you can under circumstances where you're lifted out of your regular time and space. It's all good.
Thanks. I appreciate it. And I'll see you on August 20th.
I'll miss you, but have a good time.
Thanks, Ken.
Hey, Ken. I am also traveling with this summer, going to the Galapagos and look for Charles Darwin. See if you can show me the evolution. But yeah, I heard this thinking that there are three things that are very difficult to achieve. And this is, one is to have a human existence. Two is having a burning desire to learn the teaching. And that pertains to our soul force. And the third is finding the teacher to teach us what it is. So if we have all of this and we still don't do our right diligence, then we repeat another 10,000 lives probably. So I'm just happy that I'm grateful that I have hit this point that that I gotta, and I don't think that I don't look at it as I gotta do it. because it becomes a stress or a pressure. I do it because it's fun. I feel the peace and the joy, and that's what I'm looking for. Thank you.
Among the reasons why I sit every day, and I do sit every day, usually twice a day, I like the way my life feels when I'm doing that. And the awakening is gradual. I am learning to be more compassionate with myself than I used to be. When I first got clean and sober, that was a storm, an internal storm. That's when I returned to the practice 31 years ago. And it helped me have more space around that. Do I always want to? No. Do I always feel like it? No. Do it anyway, right? Do it because we like what it does to our lives. Start there. Whether or not I awaken, whether or not I become a Buddha in this lifetime, that's completely something that Herbert worries about. So, if you want, you can go to YouTube and look up Star Trek Herbert, and then you'll know who Herbert is and why I refer to him. So, thank you all.